Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Thursday, July 18th, 2019. My name is Rich, and joining me once again this week is Bijan. How you making out?
I'm good, man. What a great... Oh, man, I love this episode. Good stuff, but, man, one of these obstacles was crazy, bro.
Yeah, we're covering the Los Angeles City Finals, to be clear, and this is the first city we get to see. So we learned that the last obstacle didn't change out, but I'm going to guess you're talking about the leaps of faith.
Yeah. What a weird obstacle. Like, when the first time I saw it, I really didn't know what to make of it because they were very vague with its description. And actually, I like that because I want to see what it's all about while somebody's on it, you know? And it just became more and more complex the more the ninjas were on it. I gotta admit, I did not see so few people completing that. I didn't realize how hard it was until I started seeing more and more people falling at it. It looked crazy difficult, but man, surprised me.
Yeah, well, because of the way they revealed it, that's a good point. And I was noticing that too. Like, they didn't really give us a rundown of what this thing was. We just kind of figure it out as we see the ninjas completing it. I don't know if I like that. I was kind of... For this one, it kind of worked because there was little elements along the way. You're like, oh, so now they got past that, so now it's this, and now it's this. It's kind of like three obstacles in one almost.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is, do you prefer them having like the full-on breakdown at the beginning of the episode? Is that what you mean?
I'm torn. I think I do. Yeah, I think I would side on getting a little bit of a rundown. For me, it helps to know what's coming. Mm-hmm. I'm always shifting my attention. It's probably to do with me taking notes constantly and trying to shift back and forth. And I know what's happening next is a little easier. I'm trying to jot down notes on what the obstacle is and everything else. So it may be affected by that.
Yeah. I kind of have a second, like, I go back and forth, kind of like you, where there's been situations where it's like, I really wish I knew more about this obstacle. But at the same time, we know we're going to see all these ninjas on the obstacles, so how much of a breakdown do we necessarily need? But I totally understand your point. In previous episodes, I'm sure there's been instances where I've been like, man, I need to know more of the breakdown. But really, I don't know. I think for obstacles like this, at least this last one, which I keep forgetting its name, the handhold one, there's so much complexity to every single different thing that it was kind of fun seeing all the weird stuff. Because I'll tell you right now, bro, when the first time, and I forgot who did it, the first time somebody actually made that transition to the second one, and they kind of collapsed in on each other, I was like, whoa! Like, I did not see that coming, and that was like a fun surprise for me, at least.
It kind of was, yeah, that's why I'm, again, torn on it, because I liked that, and then I jumped to the next one, and I was like, oh, so that one doesn't do that, so what's going on? Like, you're a little confused. Kind of made it exciting, I guess. I
guess that's the point, man. They switch it up on you.
Yeah. It's so I like that they don't break down every single obstacle every episode now. They haven't done that at all this season, I think, where they, try to explain, oh, and this is the balance obstacle called the Diamond Dash and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, we're fine. We get those ones. We've seen them enough times. Mm-hmm. It's the newer obstacles. I could use a little hint as to what's going to happen.
Yeah. So what about the other obstacles? That little... I don't know. It's like a board moving obstacle type thing. What do you think about that?
The hinge.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's kind of boring overall. I think it's kind of saved by the last part of it. I like the last transition where it's up a higher board and they've got to get around it and off of that. For some reason, that part of it interested me the most.
Well, I agree. I thought it was, as you said, kind of like an okay transition obstacle. We've seen other obstacles kind of like it with these transition ones off of the salmon ladder. It kind of slows down the pacing with these types of obstacles, but they have their placement and there's a reasoning for them. That said, I think, as you alluded to, the very last portion saves it for this obstacle. That little springy board, imagine kind of like a diving board, right? But rather than it being horizontal, it's vertical. And the way that it's so springy like that, That is low-key so much more difficult than these ninjas made it out to be. Like, that is crazy hard. Because if you were to fling yourself fully at it, the spring is going to go right back at you. Not to mention, it can fall out from underneath you if you do too light of a swing. So there's a lot of complexity actually with that obstacle, and I actually really appreciate that.
All right, so let's take a look at some of these runs here. Let's see how the ninjas themselves did on the course. Oh, I got to mention, actually, did you notice Matt's voice sounded like he's been gargling gravel or something? Like, he did not sound well for this episode.
No, was he sick or something?
I don't know. It didn't sound right to me. It sounded like he was fighting something off. I mean, he does an amazing job anyway, but it was pretty noticeable, I thought.
Yeah, I was about to say at this point he's been doing a lot of episodes, but really, no, they film him back to back. So really, at this point, he's filmed like what? Like one or two episodes, so it's not his throat being worn out. Hey, who knows?
I think he was going into the first. That makes sense, because it's funny because I wasn't thinking of the fact that they shoot these out of order, and I remember now that going into the season, I don't think he was on top form. So yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, he might have been sick.
Okay, so let's take a look here. We've got Brian Burke, the Burkinator, takes the course.
I love this kid.
And I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't this. It certainly wasn't to get another full segment on him and how he's, inspiring people on social media. He was very, very interesting ninja, but I thought, well, I mean, obviously he's not going to go very far in the city finals. I guess they're just going to use him to demonstrate it. Dude did amazing.
Yeah, he was dope. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like, at first I'm like, man, you're giving him another segment? Like, we got the story, right? But I get it at this point. They're hyping him up because he really is that good. Like, this kid, I gotta say, almost got Athletically Profound Run of the Night simply because he kept exceeding my expectations. And maybe that's a fault on me for underestimating this kid. But he kept prevailing with, like, so much heart and, like, just really, like, getting through it. And I don't know. It's been a long time. Like, we've been talking about this whole season that the first runs are going a lot farther than we imagined. Bro, he got to the penultimate obstacle. Wow.
How? Like, and it is probably on us because he was looking very solid. My notes were just kind of like, yeah, he's looking very solid. I think even more solid than I remember him being in the qualifier, and he beat the spin hopper again. That part surprised me. Like, I was like, oh, wow, he did the spin hopper again. That's great. And then he beats the hinge, and I lost my mind. I'm like, what the heck is going on with this guy? And he was, he ended up going in the 9th obstacle. We didn't get to see much of it from him, but that was an amazing rookie year for him. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. And I don't know, something about this kid, he's very, very likable. He's got this awkward goofiness that's just so incredibly likable. Like, sometimes it could be weird or uncomfortable or whatever, depending on people, but just something about him. I just really want to root for this kid. I like him a lot.
All right. After him, we had some fast forwards, including Anthony Trucks, who ended up going out in the spin hopper this time. Thomas Coffrin, who I know you met in your ANW premiere, who went out on sprint forward.
I was surprised by that. I mean, I mean, for what I know about Coffin, he's just like a really athletic dude. So, I don't know if he necessarily has any backgrounds, but yeah, I don't know. From seeing him before, he looked very, very strong in terms of his upper body strength. I have to look back. Was it kind of his transition swing? Was that what got him?
I don't remember exactly what part of it screwed him up.
Yeah, I don't know.
But after him, actually, even more surprising was Rebecca Bonilla, fast forwarded, who went out and walked the plank. God, she had a great year last year, but I feel like she can do so much more. We're just waiting for that year to happen for her.
Yeah, I'm surprised. And honestly, I was pretty shocked to hear when Tiana Webberley was up, the fact that she made it on to the second round and she fell on the walk the plank as well. Walk the plank is the second obstacle, right? Yeah. It was a weird. I was surprised it's that much of a ninja killer.
It was a weird qualifier.
Yeah, sometimes you just it looks easier on TV than it necessarily is. I was pretty surprised by that.
Next on the course, though, we had Verdell Benson, a veteran, 37 years old, 210, muscly dude.
Yeah, I remember seeing this guy, and he's huge in real life, like a massive dude. Very, very serious and animated, or just serious. I wouldn't say animated, but just really like hyper, I guess, in a serious tone. I don't really know how to describe it other than that.
Intense? Is he like...
There you go, intense. Thank you. Yeah, very intense guy. But yeah. Well, why don't you break down what happened? Because this was a very weird run for me to watch, at least.
Yeah, he was struggling a little bit on spring forward, putting lots of effort into it. But I mean, he's so big and strong, I guess, that he was able to muscle his way through it. Made it all the way through. Again, people are going deeper than I would have expected. Made it to the salmon ladder and then jumped 2 rungs and ended up actually making a one-handed catch. Like, that was a little crazy.
Yeah, Verdale, how do I say this? This run was very interesting and weird in the fact that he basically did everything wrong, but still made it through. Like, almost every obstacle, the thing that you say don't do, he did, but he kept making it through, if that makes sense. It was so weird. This dude, it just maybe like on sheer athleticism, he got through, but it certainly wasn't by technique. I mean, on that little springy type obstacle, he had his hands completely separated from one side to the other and not together. So it kind of like precluded him from having intense swings or really having much control over himself. But yet he made it through. I have no idea how. And what was the next obstacle? Yeah, on the
the leaps of fate or the hinge.
No, just that little like running obstacle. Like, he basically, like, starts running, and then he slows down halfway through, and basically, like, just lays on it to get through. But he made it. And then the next one, the little, what's that? Man, I forget all the names. The next one, which is kind of like the upward ladder thing.
Oh, the spin hopper.
Spin hopper, yeah. He spends so much time on the spin hopper, like, every single obstacle, like, every single one. And that's perfectly fine. I'm not saying, like, he did anything wrong. It's just not the way most ninjas would do it in terms of technique and being efficient, you know? But he really, really took his time laying on it, wearing out a lot of his energy, especially for a big dude. But he continued moving on. I mean, it was almost amazing being like, hey, as long as there's a will, there's a way, you know? He looked all right on the warped wall, you know? It wasn't awful or anything. But, dude, this salmon ladder. Let's talk about this first swing on the salmon ladder. He almost, like, swings backwards on the salmon ladder. Like, completely the wrong way to do it. Like, how most people wipe out on the salmon ladder. And yet, he was able to save it out of sheer luck. I don't know how, because he was holding on by, like, 4 fingers they highlighted?
Yeah.
Then the next, like, it continues, man. I was, like, laughing at this point. The next one, those boards, the hinges where you have to swing them, he spun the wrong way, so we had to, like, readjust it. Like, it
oh, right, I forgot about the swinging it the wrong way. That's great.
Yeah, and I am like, okay, so every obstacle, I was getting more excited. I'm like, okay, how's he going to screw it up and get through it, you know? Unfortunately, his luck ran out on the next obstacle, the handhold one. But, dude, this was an amazing obstacle in all the wrong reasons. Amazing, like, run for all the wrong reasons. But it was a thing of beauty. And you know what, Verdale? Keep doing what you're doing, man, because it was damn sure entertaining.
Yeah, very interesting run. After Verdale, we had Anna Shumaker back again, who was looking very solid on the course yet again this year. Strange, though. Strange run, because she was looking great. I was waiting to see how she was going to do in the back half of the course, but she failed 3 times on the warped wall. Like, it's so unusual to see, you know, a ninja of that caliber do it. It just keeps reminding us that no obstacle can be taken for granted, especially the warped wall when you're tired, right? You have a course. She's not there fresh, and she doesn't have a huge run-up, right? It's not, it shouldn't be that shocking, to be honest.
Yeah, it was quite surprising. Just everything you alluded to is true. You know, a ninja that we've seen multiple times, we just assume that they've trained this and that they know it. And we shouldn't, because it is not an easy obstacle. Like the salmon ladder, like, there are obstacles where you've seen it so many times and it's a hallmark and it's at every ninja gym, so you just assume. But, like, I mean, once again, I've been on a warped wall not easy and actually quite terrifying. So, I mean, I don't blame her for it. It's just one of those things. I really wish her the best because, man, she looked really, really strong. Yeah. Shumaker, when it comes to the upper body obstacles, she's got that in spades.
Yeah, and we also have to remember that it's half a foot taller than it used to be. So she more than covered the old warped wall. This is a higher warped wall that the mega wall now dwarfs, but it is still a very crazy thing that it's... Like, do you remember when we started this podcast even, like, it was unusual for women to complete the warped wall. They were counting them down. Now it's not even countable in a lot of ways, right? They just had so many. And this one's taller.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Casey Catanzaro getting up the warped wall was this huge moment in Ninja Warrior history, you know? It's everything you said, very true. And this is a lot bigger, and I totally forgot that it is a larger warped wall. And probably due to the mega wall, as you said, it kind of dwarfs it, but hey, it's no joke.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need something like that.
All right, so next on the course, we have Kevin Bull midway through the episode and making me incredibly nervous by the way they're talking about him and this upcoming run.
I don't know. I wasn't worried, man.
Really? Really?
Was it his placement?
Kevin Bull has never fallen on a qualifier before. Like, he's never failed to qualify for Vegas. Going for the fastest time. Let's just go. And it's like, oh boy, here we go. Let's see how this goes. I was like peeking through my hands for this one. But thank God he was crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. Managed to beat the hinge. Went out on the last leap of faith. And that's where we learn they have to grab the backside of the last holds, which is devious and genius. And I love that part.
I love it, as you said, and yeah, this was the first time, and it showed me a lot of things. Not only do you have to wrap your hands like like the back part of it, which is, it goes everything against, how momentum works. You are moving forward. You should not be able to grasp your hands around it, and then like on the backside, and then try to catch yourself from not moving forward like more. It's very, very difficult. Not only that, but the way the obstacle is designed with the colored patterns and everything, it looks as though you can put your hands forward and catch. It looks like a handhold going in a forward motion. So it's one of those things where it's just a visual element alone can be very, very tricky. I don't know. I really, really like this. I'm sure everybody there were not fans of this obstacle. But hey, that's the most important thing, is that it's new creative ways to challenge yourself. And I gotta say, at no point did I find it cheap or anything else or unfair or any of that.
Nope, and I think that's the sign of a good obstacle, right? Especially when it can make them work against their instincts and their practice, right? So when you have someone going down a salmon ladder or trying to, like the wing nuts, one of the genius of the wing nuts is that's just not the way they are used to swinging when they first came out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. So grabbing backwards as you pass an obstacle, grabbing it from the other side is unusual. And it's still familiar enough to make it fair. Yeah. Props to whoever came up with that one.
Yeah. We're going to talk about it later, but it just reminded me of the last run. And let's just say I screamed and woke up the entire neighborhood, but we'll get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, we will definitely get to that. After that, we had Jonah Bonner, the gondolier ninja, who's... Okay.
if there was, like, a point where I'm like, this, wrap it up, B. Like, wrap it up, guys. This is getting a little long. Like, hey, it's fine having, like, a new... Like, we don't see many gondoliers in real life or whatever, right? Like, it's unique and all that. Come on, people. Wrap it up.
It pushed a little long, but it was interesting and, like, perplexing enough that it kind of kept my interest. I'm like, so he hasn't done much ninja training. He's going to rely on his rowing skill to get him through. I mean, okay. I mean, it got him to the finals.
How this goes, right?
How am I going to judge? But, like... You never know. That's what I love about the show. You never know. This guy is great. No issues through the wall. He's only 130 pounds. Like, really, really light guy.
Was this a guy? I forget if it was this guy or... No, I think it was Hunter Guerard, but they said he was 5'10" and 130 pounds. And I am like, whoa. do they have any fat on their body? Because that is shockingly skinny.
I didn't note his height, but he seemed pretty lanky. Yeah, he could have been him. It
was one of the two, and I was stunned.
Yeah. He went out immediately on the hinge, though. He slid right off it as soon as he went over.
Yeah.
But still, I was very impressed.
A lot further than, yeah.
After him, we had a fast forward of Adam Rail.
Okay, I saw him in the fast forward, and I'm like, well, there goes my any hopes for fantasy leagues. I should have stuck with Sean Bryan, man. I should have just stuck with it.
Well, you know what?
But I love Adam Rail, and he's my homie. I'm gonna ride with him till the very end, man. Adam Rail, win the big one.
But I mean, Adam did good. He went to there was only a couple of finishers. Not like he was far down the list.
So it's he got as far as everyone else that didn't complete the whole thing. You can't hate on that.
He missed the end of the leap of faith. Perfectly reasonable thing to do. He didn't injure himself or spill any blood in the process. So I mean, that's kind of a step up.
Yeah, true.
After him, though, Brian Kretsch takes the course.
This was a very, very pleasant and surprising highlight of the episode for me.
Isn't it crazy? Like, last episode, it was all about David Campbell. This time we got Brian Kretsch. Is like, there's going to be some very happy old school fans out there.
Oh, yeah. Like, the OGs, man, get like, super representation. I mean, really, when you think about Flip also, and, I'm digging this quite a bit. But why don't you go through what happened?
Sure. So he's running for his aging dad, James. I actually thought that the segment was really good, too. It was very, very touching and very real. It really struck home. He stopped ninja training when his dad broke his hip, but he is back to it now. He managed to finish the leap of faith. Like, I actually didn't take notes on the rest of his run. I was just like, whoa, he beat the leap of faith. That's amazing. His first city finals finish since season 4.
That's insane when you think about how talented this guy is. Brian Kretsch, I feel, and maybe this is just me, because he's literally run every single season of ANW. But when I think the OG ANW guy, it's David Campbell, and I feel like, at least for me, Brian Kretsch gets overshadowed. And it's not something where I make an effort to. It's just instantly there's that one person that gets in my head,
Yeah.
So I very much respect, and I'm so happy that Brian Kretsch is getting the spotlight that he deserves. This guy is so passionate about this sport and incredibly talented also. Not only that, I mean, his story with his father was both understated. He didn't make it out to be like this serious. How do I describe this? Other people, or I shouldn't even say other people, but we've seen elements of situations where stories like these can go a little too extreme in terms of, I don't know how long like all these types of things, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that. It was simply, my father's on hard times. He's getting older. He's always supported me, and now it's my time to support him. And they gave just the right amount of time and everything. I really loved this. And also, I just don't know how many segments we've had of Brian Kretsch. I'd have to really think back, but I feel like we haven't gotten many like insights into his life.
No, we had really resting Kretsch face. We had resting Kretsch face. Remember?
Oh God,
that was what I remember most.
I'd rather not.
Yeah,
I mean, it's fine, but it's like, come on. So. Yeah, I really liked this. This actually, for me, was a visually profound video of the night. Congrats, Brian Kretsch and everybody, because it was really good. I really enjoyed that. And the run itself, as you said, he was, if I remember correctly, one of the few last season to complete stage 1 in the qualifiers. And, I really can't remember if he did the Mega Wall or not. But either way.
No, I don't believe. And he's never actually beat stage 1, they said.
Oh, never mind then. He made it to the Mega Wall and didn't make it, I think is what happened. Because I remember him attempting a warped wall and everybody freaking out when I was there. But this guy has always been really, really, really good. And yeah, him just making it all the way to the end, figuring out like the last obstacle, like you could see him like, okay, what do I do with this? Like, how do I lift these walls up the first time? Do I go for my back or my hands? It was kind of like, it's interesting because, hey, you don't know unless you're there. I look at it, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to lift them both up with my back. But from everything I've seen, hey, that's not going to happen. It's probably a lot heavier than it looks, you know? So I don't know. It was like just a really, really cool run. And on any other episode, it would also get my athletically profound run of the night, but I'm saving that one. But amazing, amazing moment.
All right. Next up, we had Danell Leyva. I hope I said that right. Three-time Olympic medal gymnast who was fourth in qualifying, very fast. Like
super psyched.
We've had some, Olympians on before, but this guy's next level. Like, he's really, really good.
This guy has so much promise, and I was really, really looking forward to him. If I remember correctly, we didn't see a whole lot of him in the city qualifier, and I was like, we need to know more about this guy. So I was really happy to see him now.
Yeah, it was fast forward in the city qualifier. You called it out. I actually didn't even pay that much attention to him in the qualifier. You called it out in the fast forwards, which really stood out to me. Like, wow, you noticed him. That really was interesting. And then we've had people tweet at us about how entertaining his father is on the sidelines with a great little segment from his gymnastics. I was hoping to see him on the sidelines. We didn't get that yet. So we'll have to see if he's in Vegas. So if you think he's entertaining, you should see his father. His father is like making the same kind of movements on the sidelines. Like, he's almost like, those dance moms that kind of like do the routine on the sidelines. It's great.
Yeah, I guess that would be a comparison. Yeah. I never considered that. Yeah. But I don't know. I think this guy, if he commits to ANW, man, I feel like we're going to see him a lot. I mean, clearly we've seen a lot of really high-level gymnasts do very, very well in ANW.
Yeah, he took almost a minute off his time getting to the wall. Like, he was flying. He fell off the last transition as his fingers peeled, and he had backflipping. Like, I jumped. It like scared the bejeebus out of me when this guy went to do the transit. Like, he's just swinging, all of a sudden just whoomp, like backflip into the water.
That was a very it was a serious slam. Like, there are how do we describe this? Sometimes you see somebody just spin and hit the water with such a smack where everybody just gasps and are like, low key, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, it's like 3 feet of water, so I know you're not like drowned or anything, but like, are you okay? And that was kind of like it for me, because dude's gonna feel that tomorrow. I'll say that, like, man.
Yeah, he is somebody that I definitely want to watch for as we go forward. He is. I hope he's got the bug, and I hope we see more of him.
Oh yeah, I didn't even say anything about his run. Yeah, gotta say, very, very talented. With like his transitions with the little springy type obstacle, and like all these types of obstacles that clearly implement gymnastics. Like, dude was amazing on them. And all the obstacles where I was a little worried about, like for a newbie or anything like that, he was doing great. So he definitely has the, how do I say it, the edge or the it factor, I should say, for this type of stuff. Similar to maybe Naji. And I like, it's not fair to compare him straight to Naji, but Naji was somebody where clearly when you saw him in his beginning years, you were like, this guy's got something. And I feel the same way about this guy.
I think that's a perfectly fair comparison. Like, he really, really stood out. And he's got personality to boot. Like, it's same with Naji, where it's like whole package. Like, he eats the lens. He's like engaging. It's everything you want in a ninja. I'm very excited for him.
Oh yeah, very, very personable in the camera. That's good. I'm glad you brought that up, because that is, for me at the very least, something that I feel a lot of ninjas not necessarily need to step up their game, because it could be it sometimes it's like a natural thing. But I gotta say, he stands out in the crowd when it comes to that type of thing. When it comes to being very charismatic in front of the camera.
All right. After him, we had a fast forward of Scott Wilson, the only person who got the Meg Wall in the qualifiers, ended up going out on the leap of faith. Was not quite able to finish the whole thing, and that's the guy with a massive list of names, the former chess ninja, blah, 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 t-shirt guy.
Yeah.
But then when we came back, we had Tiana Webberley, the last woman running of the night, which seemed early in the episode to me, but she was injured last year and couldn't run in Vegas because she had broke her leg doing some stunt work. So it was like, has it always been like this, or is it just me because I empathize a little more than I could before, because it's like, does everybody break their legs in this sport? Is this just a thing that everyone does?
I mean, technically, she didn't break her leg doing ANW, I guess. But, I mean, when you're dealing with any type of, I guess, sport or type of thing where you're in a higher, when you're high up and you are doing transitions where it's very easy to fall, I mean, yeah, the likelihood of breaking your leg or something like that is incredibly high, simply because it only takes one time where you don't land the right way to seriously injure yourself.
Preach.
It's tricky, man.
Yeah, for sure. But she had no issues on the course. She managed to beat the wall. She went out on the final part of the hinge. I thought she had it. I thought she was going to go further.
Yeah.
So that meant that her and Anna Shumaker are going to Vegas.
Yeah, and I'm really happy about Sweet Tea because she's somebody that trains so hard, and she's always had so much promise. But I felt like this episode, she really, really showed just how incredibly talented she is. She overcame a lot of obstacles that not only the rest of the women weren't able to complete, but a lot of the men weren't either. I mean, she went really, really far into this course, and I'm really happy for her.
Then we had a fast forward of David Alvarez, who, if you remember, was looking for his sister Walisa. I was really hoping for some good news there. I'm glad they actually at least let us know that they were keeping up to date on it. He hasn't been able to find her yet. He ended up going out on the spin hopper this time around.
Yeah, this was one where as soon as we were talking about the update, I was very much curious how they would approach it, simply because at the time of filming this, it was the next day. So technically we wouldn't be able to get an update immediately, but I'm sure they do some post-production, over I don't know how long it's been, if it's been a month or like a little bit more than a month, from the qualifiers to the finals. And in that time, if they give an update, clearly, since they show a lot of like Facebook posts or whatever type of social media it is, that they're giving more of an update of now, present day, rather than the time of the filming of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope we come back to it and we hear about what happened with them next year. I really hope he finds his little sister. I mean, this is some real stuff. Like, A&W is a great, amazing show, but like when you bring in the realness, that's where it becomes something really, truly special, And I just genuinely wish him the best and his little sister, wherever she's at, the best. And I really hope we get like an update of a really happy story, maybe at the Vegas finals. And I know he's not making it to the Vegas finals, but at least hopefully we'll get an update there ending off the season, or at the very least next year. And if not, hey, let's continue the search, man. Let's promote it again. I'm down seeing him next year with, it doesn't have to be the same video, but like I would not mind at all hearing like another, vignette about him or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I follow him on Instagram. After that episode, I wanted to make sure I kept up to date.
Oh, good. Yeah. Any updates there? I mean, I guess it's not really that much of an update at this point, but
no, here's the, I'm not the, I keep up with my DMs on Instagram, but not quite up with everybody that I follow quite perfectly. So I'm not sure where. That's why I was happy to see the update on the show, because I'm like, okay, that reminded me I need to keep checking in on him.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, if they don't, show it on the show, hopefully we'll have an update eventually. If there is good news, and I genuinely hope there is.
Speaking of good news, up next on the course we have Ben Udy, who I will never say that name again. Chad Flexington takes the course.
Oh my God. You start, my man.
All right. So this berry farmer, a very interesting little, actually a very sizable farm that he grows a bunch of berries on. Pretty, average looking guy, like your average ninja story. And then all of a sudden,
mellow and everything. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he also got a family and everything. Very cute, segment, normal. And then suddenly he is the mullet-having, WWE-inspired ninja called Chad Flexington. This guy is nuts. And he is built exactly like Rick Rude from back in the day in WWE.
Nice call out, man. Damn. Just dropping that name, Rick Rude, man. Yeah, this was amazing. I love this. Last episode last week, I went off on a major rant and got the bellow shame and ooh, like I still man, that cat segment was rough. But it was the reason this worked for me is he went all the way. If you're gonna go ridiculous and dumb, go all the way. Be as ridiculous and dumb as possible to the point where it's great. It's amazing television. And this was that. You can't ho-hum it. You can't be like, oh, I'm all serious and I like my cat and here's a dumb, goofy, blah, 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 stuffed cat in the basket or whatever. No, okay, I'm done with that. I'm just saying that was really dumb, okay? But in the wrong ways. This was amazing. He's got a mullet. He looks exactly like Dr. Disrespect for anybody that knows that guy on Twitch with all the young kids. They know that guy. So he's already got that element where kids are going to like instantly make that connection. And then the older people are going to make the connection with, Hulk Hogan and all those wrestlers from the 90s. And the dude is jacked to the gills. He looks yoked. I love it. If there's any, polite, suggestions like for the guy, go even more ridiculous. Go with the stick. Yes, I told you, brother. Let's do this. Oh my God, make a wall. I am going to crush it down. Yes. He can do that, more than, I'm a nice guy and, I'm doing this goofy thing, but, he's still kind of like talking like he is.
Nothing little bit, yeah.
That. I'm just saying, like, go all the way with the wrestler stick. This has got legs, man. The visual element is there. So ridiculously fun. I love that. The fact that he just goes all, like, I really like the fact that he plays with the audience and everything about it. He's a showman and he knows what he's doing. Very similar to Jake Murray in the fact that where they know what they're doing, they're playing to an audience, and they're being fun. Very similar with this guy. Udi, my man, thumbs up all the way. Good stuff. If it wasn't for Kretsch, you would definitely get the visually profound video of the night, but Kretsch beats you. But this was dope.
Yeah, and similar to Jake Murray, I like the comparison because it's not just the antics, right? Like, both of them are amazing ninjas on top of that. This guy is great. He made it. He managed to beat the hinge, even though his feet were slipping. He ended up going out on leaps of faith. Like, more of this guy. 1,000%. I love the idea of him just amping it up even more. Like, you could see him pull back, and I can see why. He's doing the interview on the side. Like, do you really want to go, like, crazy, over-the-top Macho Man Randy Savage?
Yes.
Yes, we do want that.
Yes, I do. I want to see him flexing on top of the warped wall, like just stopping his run and be like, hey, 10 seconds, just poses, let's be ridiculous. Like, just go all out, man.
Oh, please invite him back every year. Like, this was great. And I knew, we could tell just from the little clip we had of him in the qualifiers that it was going to be great, and it lived up to the expectations.
Yeah, man, they were hyping him up the entire episode, and I'm like, all right, I like what I'm seeing, but this can go train wreck real quick, but it never went there.
No. Next, speaking of train wrecks, actually, we had a fast forward of Kyle Soderman next. I thought this was going to be his episode to get a segment, and he ended up getting fast forwarded because he went out on the salmon ladder.
This was, oh man, Kyle Soderman, man, this was a rough week for him, I guess, during the filming. Yeah, I don't know. I would have never in my life suspected of Kyle Soderman to go out on the salmon ladder, but I mean, it's one of those things you just never know when it gets you. That said, Soderman's unfortunate story this season, like his season story, is it's basically the Icarus story, He flew a little too close to the sun and got burned. When he went for that speed pass didn't go for the speed pass when he had the opportunity to, and it would have really, really helped him out here. That said, I mean, the dude is so talented and still really very much like Hunter Guerard. I feel like he has very much like the visual element and everything else and charisma to be a star on the show, and clearly he has a talent. We're going to see him next season, and I think that might be a breakout time. So, hey, we didn't see a whole lot of vignettes and stories about him this season. Like, we got enough, actually. I was actually pretty surprised of how much they highlighted him. But I feel like next season we're going to get a whole lot more of him.
All right. We next up we had Flip Rodriguez, who was training with the military and speaking about sexual assault. Actually, it was a very interesting segment.
Yeah.
I kind of like that they didn't take, like, they always do the tadpoles and things like that. I thought it was really good to switch it up. It was a very interesting mix of serious topic and, fun with him running the military obstacle course. I thought it was a really good segment.
Yeah, and once again, I really respect the fact that they approached a very serious topic with a lot of respect. It was never manipulative or anything like that. And when I say manipulative, I mean emotionally. Once again, looks out on the sunset, blah blah blah. They never did any of that. I really, really respect that.
They've really stepped it up. I think this season's been fantastic for that. He was not fast enough to beat Kevin Bull to the leaps of faith. To get one of the...
it was just by a few seconds or maybe even 1 second. It was very close.
Was it that close? I didn't think it was that close. I mean, might have been.
He was halfway through the the obstacle, and they're like, "Oh, is he gonna beat it?" And then he's like, "Oh, they're not." I think it might have been just 5 seconds. In terms of wherever that cutoff was.
But he did manage to complete it, the whole thing faster than Kretsch, so that didn't end up mattering in the end.
No, not at all.
Yeah, fantastic job. Great run by Flip. Love to see when he's hitting on all cylinders. He's been around for a while.
Am I talking about the wrong guy? Maybe it was somebody else. I don't remember. Anyways.
You got me confused. I'm not sure, but I know. And I actually forgot he had finished. So, I mean, I'm just as guilty. I'm like, oh, yeah, he didn't beat Kevin. Oh, wait, but he finished the course. It didn't matter in the end anyway.
Yeah. Well, the main thing for me is Flip. He's been really, really solid and consistent the past few years, but there's always been one obstacle that just really gets him, like a ninja killer or something. He was very, very technical through the course and everything, fast, but he never seemed like just running. You know how some ninjas are going to just basically run from one to the other? He seemed like he was going at a very good, steady pace. And I don't know. Something about watching Flip Rodriguez after all these years, go on the final obstacle of a city finals course was really, for me, amazing. I was just so happy for him. Whereas Kretsch got the visually profound run of the night or moment of the night, Flip Rodriguez gets the athletically profound run of the night. And for me, it was just a culmination of years and years of just really getting it out, being such a great representative of the sport, and I guess in many ways showing his genuine joy on that final obstacle. Really what solidified it for me was going up that tower at the very end and him just so jovial because he knows that he has it. And really, really happy for the guy.
Yeah, that was great. So then we had a fast forward of David Campbell, who went out on the final transition of Leaps of Faith, as we saw many ninjas do this episode.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Nope. Very safe miss on the Leaps of Faith, leading us into the final run of Hunter Guerard, the Lizard, running with nothing to lose, as they said.
Yeah. I hope they do this every single episode. I like the fact that the guy or the person, I should say, that got the speed pass is the final runner of the night. They've earned that spot, and also it leads to just will they, won't they make it situation and moment. And I'm curious to see if a lot of these runners are going to go at the pace that Hunter Guerard did as well. Because I don't know. Something about it. I like the fact that there's no longer, as you like to say, the Palm Wonderful of why is this person in the final spot? There is a reason for it, and it's already secured and there.
Yeah, I mean, and I found that because of the introduction of the Power Tower, it's kind of out the window anyway, right? They don't have to make the most entertaining, crazy run be the last run, because they still have the Power Tower to wrap up the episode anyway. They don't have to end on the high of that run. So it's kind of led to a good variety this season. Mm-hmm. But his run was actually the only run that I went and showed my wife afterwards because,
oof,
wow. I yelled. Like you said, I totally, so he's racing through it. Amazing time. And I'm just like, this is everything I wanted from the speed pass or the safety pass. because I'm like, this is what we always wonder, like, how fast can these ninjas do it when they don't have to worry about falling, right? We kind of get it with Team Ninja and Ninja vs. Ninja, but really on a proper ninja course, when they don't have to worry about their Vegas spot, how fast can they go? And he gave us a show.
He really did. I mean, that speed pass really paid dividends to him, just like, hey, let's go for it. Like, let's see what happens. I go fast. Sometimes it screws me up. Sometimes it doesn't. Let's go. And man, was he on fire. This guy was flying, bro. I was like, okay, Hunter, I see you, bro. I see what everybody's talking about. Like, I knew about it. I knew about how everybody's hyping you up, bro. But dang, man, this guy was moving and hustling. But, you know, the whole night, I low-key was like, are you required to hit that very last board? Because I can see some people just going for it and just making that leap if you don't have to. This guy answered that question.
Yes,
and also
he did.
answered the question of why we didn't see many people do it. Oh.
Wow.
Oh my God. Yeah. This guy slams his head so hard, like right into that thing. And I screamed. I screamed so loud because I thought I saw, like, just somebody kill themselves. Like, oh my God, the sound effect, and I'm sure that was, like, edited in, but man, that sound effect made it look brutal, or sound brutal. That was rough.
Oh, I was, like, my mind started racing, because I'm, like, instantly thinking, like, they had to show the run. It doesn't matter, if he knocked himself out into the water and they had to bring an ambulance in, like, normally they wouldn't show that. On the show, I think they would kind of gloss over it. But where he had that pass, they have to show his full run. Like, oh God, is he okay? Like, check on him quickly, like, because it was just blood just pouring out of the front of his head. It was awful. I felt so, I mean, we're laughing and kind of going on about it here, but it was not, it was scary. It was not a good scene. It was
a serious situation. Yeah. It's one of those types of injuries where when it happens, the first thoughts are they knocked out? Are they concussed? Is there serious damage happening? Are they okay? And luckily, I mean, you can't ever tell if somebody's concussed or not from the first impact. It's something where they need to do testing, and I really genuinely hope he's okay and there's no long-term damage. But at the very least, he wasn't knocked out. He was safely able to get out of the water. He was bleeding, but I mean, with an impact like that, blood's gonna happen. It's just going to happen. He was gushing blood from the like the visual element of it. What looked pretty brutal. And for a kids show, I guess I respect the fact that they showed it, because I could simply see them editing out or, like, you know, trying to. I don't even know how you censor it out, but you know what I mean. And I'm glad. It was a very serious injury, and I'm glad they gave it time to actually show, like, hey, the sport things happen. I mean, Charlie Andrews, he's the guy I always think about, and I'm really happy from everything I'm hearing that he's okay. And hopefully we see him next year. But it's one of those things where, at least for Hunter Guerard, he seems to be okay. We'll just need some stitches, and hopefully there's not any concussions or anything like that with him. But hey, he went for it. I give him all the respect in the world. He did nothing that I wouldn't try to do, you know? This guy, he went for it.
He did. He put it all on the course. And we'll get to see him in Vegas, assuming I'm sure he's fine, and we'll get to see him run there. It was crazy. But that still left the Power Tower to go. And for the first time, we do not have, you know, a relative newcomer or unknown. We have Flip Rodriguez versus Brian Kretsch running the Power Tower.
Yeah, Flip Rodriguez very much is no longer the young kid. You know, Flip for a long time was like the kid, kind of like Kid Matisse Wadi. Now I think about it, like if you look back at their stories, there's a lot of cohesion in terms of like when they first came on the scene and they're like the hot young thing, you know. But I mean, now Flip is full on cemented a veteran, not even like, you know, one of the known ninjas, but a veteran at this point. And yeah, I was really excited to see what they had. Not only that, the new Power Tower, what do you think about how it's designed and everything?
Disappointed. Very disappointed. What about you?
I don't know. It kind of reminded me of Ultimate Beastmaster, and I hate always making those comparisons. But when I forget what it was, if it was Sage 2 or 3, but Ultimate Beastmaster has a whole lot of obstacles where you're kind of like dangling from things and just using your upper body. But what I'll say about this is, for me, at the initial point, I was like, well, this is just a very not rock climber heavy, but like. I don't know. There's a lot of these types of holds at ninja gyms, and I don't know. I understand what you're saying. The more I think about it, there's not that much intricacies or changes up with the obstacle. It's literally just dangling from things and going from one to another. I felt like the original Power Tower was visually more exciting, but I don't hate it. But I definitely can see much more room for improvement.
I don't get it. Like they did such a great job with the original Power Tower of testing a variety of skills. I thought that was one of its strongest points, right? There's balance, there's upper body. You have to be able to lâcher. It's like a basically like a very mini course, right? They got to get through. This is just an upper body test. It's not a whole lot better than a rope climb as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I don't deny that. I mean, every element of this particular course I've done, and I'm sure a lot of people have done, but maybe that's one thing that they're going for, is that it is, how would I describe this? People will be like, oh, well, I know I can do parts of these, I don't know how fast I could be, but I also understand, hey, you kind of want something that's very difficult to do. I guess it's the argument of, do you want them to go as fast as they can through it, or do you want them to really struggle through everything? And I think what the answer truly is a little bit of both, and this might have lacked a little bit of the newness or harder elements of it.
It lacked,
but I mean,
Kretsch
struggled at a portion of it.
Yeah, it's not that it's easy by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not looking at it from that perspective. I would rather see them test some. I like that they changed it. I don't want the same one. But have them jump from, they have to jump over to a wing nut and fling themselves over to a bar that's actually the first part of a salmon ladder. Go up some rungs of that. Rope swing across to something else, right? Like test like 3 or 4 skills as they have to work their way up instead of just climb,
ANW people, if you're listening, hire Rich right now. That's some good stuff, bro. Man.
That's what I was picturing. That's what I was expecting. And then I got, here's some climbing holds. Can you get up them? It was very disappointing from that perspective.
I mean, hey, you ain't lying, but
I feel like I'm being mean again. We got so much trouble last week for giving that cat segment. Heck, now I'm gonna get it for the Power Tower.
I mean, you did, maybe. Yeah. I say buy that one. That was rough.
But okay, so that is it for this. If you guys like the Power Tower, let me know. Like, am I crazy here? Because I don't think I am. But before we go for this week, do we have any 5-star reviews, Bijan?
Ooh, good question. Let me see here. Why, Rich, we do! Look at this. Bailey Story writes, amazing podcast! This is my favorite podcast I listen to every week, and if you're a fan of Ninja Warrior, I definitely recommend it. Rich is also very responsive on Instagram, which is really cool. Go, Rich. Look at you, man, responding to everybody. I am not so responsive, but I try my best, y'all. That said, Bailey, oh my God, you're amazing. You get the 5-star review of the week. You go, Bailey. That's it. If you want to leave us a 5-star review, please do it on iTunes, because it will give the word out. It will promote our podcast, and you will send word to everyone of all the love. And of course, spread the love to everyone you know. Share us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatevers. Get the word out. Armchair Ninja Podcast. Armchair Ninjas represent. Let's go, son.
And if you do want to reach out to us on social media, you can reach me as Rich at ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151. If you're in the San Diego area, I'm going to be hosting a panel at Comic-Con this year. So check it out on the Thursday. And it's going to be called Book Fights. Let's go. Librarians are the coolest.
All right. Thank you all so much for listening, and have a very literary week.
Peace, love, and deuces, y'all.